Hey guys, thank you for joining me this morning. Although you can practice this sequence at any time, it is designed with a more active morning sequence in mind. Sometimes we're a little stiffer in the morning, so make sure that you cajole the body, which might mean you lower the knees to the floor for planks, for chaturangas, for tiger curls, and that you bend the knees for your down dog and forward folds. Really make it feel like you're oiling a cog, you're lubricating the body with movement. With that in mind, coming to our knees, stepping the hands further forward, rounding on the exhalation. On the inhale, belly in, big belly squeeze, half up dog. Reversal, belly lifts, like you're being kindly punched in the stomach. And then coming back to that child's pose variation. Exhale, rounding through the spine. Inhale, half up dog. Exhale, reversal, lifting from the belly. Make the belly do the work of lifting you. One more time, feeding your spine as we round on the exhalation. As we stretch the front line of the body on the inhalation, belly squeezing, belly squeezing. Exhale, reversal. Awesome, tucking our toes under. Down dog. Take a moment, have a wiggle. Release the excess tension with your breath, the overthinking. So bringing yourself into your body, noticing and adjusting. And that will facilitate presence. Walking our hands back to our feet, bending our knees, pressing through the balls of the feet, one vertebra at a time, unfurling. Feed your spine. Refurling, tucking our chin, rounding back down, one vertebra at a time. Make this feel really good. Again, pressing through the balls of the feet, stacking those vertebrae, one at a time. Still a warm up. Hands behind the head. Inhale, lift the top chest. You'll notice I'm bending the knees. Release one hand. And then perhaps the other as we support our head and neck. Repeat that. Draw your belly in and really keep that neck feeling supported. Awesome. Tuck your chin, round back down through the spine, one vertebra at a time. And release your legs. Maybe your knees stay bent. Or on the exhalation, lift the sit bones up. And inhale, bend the knees more deeply. Repeat that twice more. On each exhalation, releasing the hamstrings, lifting the sit bones. One more time. Hang out for a moment. What do you need to do to release the hamstrings? Maybe you bend the knees more. Does it feel like a release? Walking our hands back out into our downward facing dog. Take a moment to notice your feet. Are there arches in your feet? Create an arch in your foot if there isn't. Is there a squeeze in your back? Left leg extends back and up towards the sky, opening our hip, three-legged downward facing dog. And from your knees or down dog, step the left foot up beside the left thumb. Lowering the back knee, have a little wiggle here. And then re-square the foot. Lift and engage the back, kneecap rock forward and back here, still warming up. And then knee to the floor or not, knee stays lifted, optional. Finding our twist. Lower the back knee to the floor, half split, reminding ourselves, warm up, warm up. Dig through that heel. Step your front foot back, so we're in a square shape here. The back knee directly under the hip. Inhale, like cat-cow, lift the top chest, pause. Our low body is actually like it's in cat, so belly draws in and the top chest lifts. And then exhale, round, like you're being punched in the belly in some sort of friendly way. Pause. You may feel a stretch, a release in your quadricep, your psoas properly. And then inhale, lift the top chest again and pause. Our belly is drawing in, so upper body back bend only. Exhale, rounding through the spine. Now from here, finding our upper body back bend only again, top chest lifts, still supporting the head. Step the front foot forward into a lunge shape, belly draws in. And optional, upper body back bend, release those hands, belly draws in. Does it feel really nice? Like a warm up. Hands to the floor. Step back into a full or half plank and pause. Rock forward and back here if you want. Slight rounding in your spine. Engaging the belly. Lower your knees to the floor, optional. Fist chaturangas or regular, so fist to the floor is an option. Unfurl, rounding through the spine. Exhale, 1 to 3 chaturangas. It's like our upper back is rounding. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round up through that spine. 1 to 3, keeping the belly engaged. At the beginning, sometimes we have to do micro push-ups when we're, using our fists. So, knees directly under buttocks. So this is the last round of 3. Now hands back into chaturanga, on the floor, and pausing, unfurl. Engage your belly. Full or half up dog. Optional, lift your kneecaps. Exhale, like our belly's being punched. Reversal, downward facing dog. Breathe, use your breath here. It's really helpful for releasing, for stretching more. A revolved down dog. Left hand either steps to the center of the mat and you twist, or you take hold of your shin or ankle. Are we still widening through the back of the thighs here? Other side. Right hand steps to the center of your mat or takes hold of something to twist. We're still pushing back through our thighs. Bring your hands back into your down dog and then walking back towards your feet. Bend your knees, unfurl. Awesome. Hands behind the head, lift the top chest, draw the navel in. Big belly squeeze, maybe we lift the top chest a little bit more. As we swap hands, the neck and head are absolutely supported here. Lovely and long. Coming back through the center, push kicks, fighting stance. And then as you lean back, right leg first, and then left. Now think of this as a warm-up. Make your hips feel good, so bring the hips out. You can flex that foot a little bit more. Like the power is coming from your hip, your strong hips. Much bigger joint than our knees, for example, or ankles. Just a warm-up. Think of this as a warm-up. How can you warm up your legs? One more. Beautiful. Rounding back down through the spine, one vertebra at a time. Hands onto something, we bend, and then we straighten more if that's a possibility. So make sure on each inhalation, really bend. Belly stays on the thighs as you lift the sit bones. One more time, inhale, bend. Your belly is actually touching the thighs. Take a pause so we know our back is long. Are your legs releasing here? Walking our hands back out into our downward facing dog. Right leg extends up towards the sky. Tiger curl from your knees or down dog. Step the right foot to the right thumb, lower the back knee. Open the hip, have your wiggle. Facilitating the flow of the breath. I keep reminding myself everything's a warm-up. When we get into sometimes a little bit of a performance mode, right? We're really trying to do something with the muscles and the body. Lifting the back knee, optional, rock forward and back, and then coming into our twist, knee on the floor or not. Now we have to use the breath as we pause. Half split, shuffle that foot forward, buttocks over where knee was. Bring that front foot back. So there's a square shape here with your legs and knees. Hands behind the head. Lift the top chest, but round the low back. It's a contradiction. This is healthy protection in our back bends. Take a pause. You might feel that release down into the leg, the left leg. And then rounding, everything rounding like a cat. Again, visualize you're being punched in the belly. Draw that belly in. Like you don't want to be punched. Ooh, feel that nice release down the front of the thigh. And then opening the top chest. Supporting the head. Maybe we can lift the top chest more. Find the contradiction between low body and upper body. This is a nice protected back bend, and then rounding. Ooh. Really feel that down the front of my left leg. Now coming into that crescent moon lunge, first we'll come into what the body is doing, the top chest, then walk the front foot further forward. The low belly keeps drawing in, like you're being punched. Draw the low belly in, and maybe depending on your neck, you release the hands. Squeeze the triceps closer to the ears. It should feel beautiful, really supported. And then from here, bring the hands to the floor. We step back into a full or half plank and salsa hips. So the belly engages, like we're lifting over some sort of bar. Can you draw your navel in towards your spine? Two more. There we go. Knees to the floor or not, you can do this from down dog, the unfurling. Make a little triangle with your hands. Unfurl. You know the drill. 1, 2, 3. Doing this twice more, this unfurling, lengthen, rounding. We round. Now the front line is engaged. Keep it engaged. As we do those push-ups, inhaling, unfurling as we exhale. Breathe freely now, those push-ups. Last round. Now we bring our hands into shadow angle under the shoulders or into that shape for our plank. And we pause. Can you get your shoulders lower while your elbows tuck in more? Fuller half up dog. Engage your kneecaps. And optional. Head back to neutral, lift one leg and then the other. Belly lifts in, coming into our downward facing dog. Breathe. Walking our hands back to our feet, one foot to stand. Press through the balls of the feet. Roll up through the spine. You choose, support your head maybe, or lift your top chest, squeeze your elbows in. Belly is like it's being punched, so the belly draws in. It's a contradiction. The low body, you try and get rid of the back bend. Maybe you walk your hands down your thighs. Easier than a down dog. That's the way it should feel. Taking a moment, warming up our hips. So, think of drawing a circle with your hip joint. So it should feel really good. Visualize what your hip is doing. Can you lubricate that hip joint with some movement? Can you make it feel better? Whatever the movement is. I tend to point my toes because it seems to help with the movement. To draw my leg back. Can you elevate this hip a little bit higher? Like you're creating some spaciousness in your hip joint. Let's reverse those circles. So now I almost imagine that I'm lifting my leg over some sort of bar. But again, the side of the hip is lifting up. Does it feel good, what you're doing? Does it feel good for you? Awesome. So, standing, maybe you'll stand sideways depending on the space you have. Step towards your right. Lift your left hip up. Let's do that one more time. Step towards the left. Lift your right hip up. So we're going to try and get that height. So warming up here to get that hip high. So we open. One more time on each side. Open that hip, and if it feels good, add an extension of the leg. Lift the hip up, upwards. The hip stays lifted. Feel free to do this nice and slowly. We're simply warming up here. We're keeping that foot nice and engaged. So it's like the side of the foot is going to do that imaginary kicking. A few more. Explore this. Maybe you're doing this really slowly, and that's all absolutely fine. We're warming up, perhaps for more work later. One more time, guys. Awesome. Coming back to the back of our mat and shaking the tree a little bit. So just shaking any tension out of your body. Out of your knees, out of your hips, out of your shoulders. You're shaking from the balls of your feet here. We've got a little bit of positive fight energy in the body now. Roll back down through the spine, one vertebra at a time. Walk yourself back out into your downward facing dog. And then lowering your knees to the floor, big toes together, knees wide. Take a child's pose and release any excess stress that you've built in the body. Bring your forehead onward toward the floor. I'm just going to keep my head lifted so you can hear me. Releasing around your hip flexors, around your glutes. And then bringing your feet to the floor for our Malasana. Step one, you rock forward and back here, forward and back. If it feels good, you simply pause. Press your elbows inside your inner thighs. I like to draw a circle because that feels really good for my, hips, or the muscles around my hips. My knees, everything, my feet, my ankles. Coming to stand if you can and sitting back down. So coming up to stand, opening our knees as we sit our buttocks back down. A few more times, activating those legs. How does the rest of your body feel? Trying to make everything a whole body practice. So sometimes at the beginning we're working the legs, and I don't know what we do with our head and neck, maybe something unusual. Now, coming to the side of your mat, half Malasana one side, and feel free to grab a chair and be up really high, so you might be nowhere near the floor. That's fine. We have to start somewhere. And that's how I started with these moving Skandasanas. Trying to warm up or strengthen my thighs. I had the flexibility, but not the strength to lift up. So that just comes. Other side. One more time, finding the release in the legs. And then we're going to work a little strength. So, coming all the way back onto one side, maybe 5 times, we lift a little bit up. 2. Again, do this from a chair if you need to. Instead of lifting up, you're lowering down if you're doing it from a chair. And then coming back. The knees should feel good. So make sure you've got the flexibility figured out first. Good work. Come back to the center. Toes stay turned out, and use your elbow to open your knee as you lunge from side to side here. So, working a little bit on the flexibility required for martial arts. Going to release down the side of the straight leg into our ankle, into our foot. And then walk your feet closer together for most people. Inhale, lift the top chest. Take hold of something, your ankles. Maybe you simply have your hands on the floor. And release down the sides of the legs by bringing weight into the outside of the feet. Feel free to bend your knees here. We're releasing tension here, that's the idea. So if you need to, make those adjustments so it feels like your body is allowing you to stretch more. It feels safe to do that. Hips move towards the groins. Awesome. Lowering our knees to the floor. Swinging those legs out in front. Starting with half rollbacks. So just giving our abdominal muscles a little bit of a warm-up too for the day. Sit up tall on your sit bones, lovely long back, and then round back through our vertebra. It's like the reverse of an ugly plank. Draw your hip points towards your ribs as you roll back. Continue with those half roll backs, or come all the way down. Now this is a little bit harder. Inhale, hands overhead. Exhale, one vertebra at a time, come all the way up. Sit nice and tall. Exhale, roll back down through the spine. Think of navel drawing in before you sit up. One last time, guys, and then we're going to forward fold. We're going to add it's called a hamstring stretch. Think of it as a release. From half or full, actually rounding here, so navel draws in, release down the sides of the legs. Squeeze your inner thighs together, hip points draw in, one vertebra at a time. Come all the way back down, navel to the spine. Rounding, so it's almost like this weird dive, isn't it? And then round to come all the way back down, everything nice and engaged. One more time. Take a moment and maybe come back to our yoga if you want. So that's more of a Pilates move where we're lengthening. Think of lifting up through the inner thighs and out through the sit bones. So like we're widening here. Make this feel good. Bend your knees if you need to. For me, this is a great release down the side of my legs. You could hang out here a little bit longer if you wanted. Keep your the energy moving up and out through the sit bones, up through the inner thighs. It's called an inner spiral, and out through the sit bones. If you visualize it, it simply works. It simply works. Rolling back down through the spine, one vertebra at a time. Nice belly squeeze here. And then interlace your hand behind your left thigh. Press the leg up towards the sky. Bend the knee, sweep the knee across the body into a nice twist. Allow yourself to breathe. Belly squeezes, come back to the center, other side. Send that foot up towards the ceiling. Release the tension. Bend the knee, sweep the knee across the body into your lovely little twist. Allowing the tension to drain away from the top chest, from the face, from the jaw. And then coming all the way back to the center. Take a full body stretch. Sometimes the simple things like taking a full body stretch, this actually is very good for releasing anxiety, stretching the whole body, like we do in the morning, like a yawn. Now, you may wish to do some more little release poses. I definitely recommend that your own. I always recommend Shavasana. It's like putting the cake in the oven. So put the cake in the oven after doing all the work, receive the benefits of your practice.